Oh gosh, you've probably heard about the drama surrounding Jeffrey Epstein and that infamous list of names. Well, hold on to your wigs because it looks like Spielberg's name might be on it.
Rumor has it she's dropped some bombshell claims that could put the legendary director in some hot water. Remember that January court revelation where a list of names connected to Jeffrey Epstein made its way out of Manhattan?
Newly released court documents relating to the Jeffrey Epstein. They include associates, friends, and alleged victims of the disgraced billionaire who died in jail 5 years ago.
I know, it sounds wild. But with Diddy currently behind bars, it seems like Spielberg might be next in line for some serious scrutiny. And guess who's stirring the pot? None other than Hollywood darling Julia Roberts. Now, Julia and Steven have a history that's spicier than my favorite hot sauce. These two have been feuding since they wrapped up filming Hook back in the late 80s. Spielberg had some major complaints about Julia's behavior on set, saying she was unprofessional and had trouble taking direction. But here's the tea. Julia was going through some serious personal drama at the time.
More about, him and his life and Amy Irving and what have you than I probably said about my own life.
You see, Julia was engaged to her co-star Kiefer Sutherland, and they were supposed to tie the knot right after filming Wrapped. But things went south faster than my last diet when Julia caught Kiefer cheating. She called off the wedding, and let's just say, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing on set after that.
It wasn't what she wanted to do in the end. And I think it took a lot of courage, in amongst all of that other stuff, to be able to say, I can't do this.
Spielberg didn't hold back about the drama in an interview with 60 Minutes. He straight up said it wasn't a great time for him and Julia to be working together. Ouch. Julia was hurt by his comments, especially since she had opened up to him on set and was really trying to keep things professional. In a Vanity Fair interview, Julia fired back at Spielberg for not standing up for her when people called her difficult to work with. She even called him a turncoat. Can you believe it? She said, I saw that and my eyes popped out of my head. I couldn't believe that this person I knew and trusted was actually hesitating to come to my defense. But wait, it gets juicier. In another interview, Julia claimed that Spielberg had a vague and unreliable recollection of what actually went down on set. She said, I find Spielberg quite confused in his recollection of me. Talk about throwing shade. Now, fast forward to today, and Julia's dropping some serious bombshells about Spielberg. When asked about his alleged connection to that Epstein list, Julia didn't hold back. She hinted that Spielberg might have some dark and creepy passions going on, way creepier than anything we usually see in his films.
I'm not even going to talk about Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is
But hold on to your hats, because this is where things get really wild. Some documents from the filming of Indiana Jones have resurfaced, and let me tell you, they're pretty alarming. They show Spielberg in a pre-production meeting with George Lucas and Lawrence Kasdan, brainstorming the character of Indiana Jones. But here's the twist. They were talking about an 11-year-old girl falling in love with Indy. George Lucas said, I was thinking that this old guy could have been his mentor. He could have known this little girl when she was just a kid, had an affair with her when she was 11. Spielberg chimed in saying, she had better be older than 22. They even considered bumping up the age to 15, saying it was the best age to peg the girl. I mean, can you believe it? It's like something out of a creepy thriller. Fans were totally grossed out when they found out about this. It's like, who thought it was cool to make a young girl hook up with an older guy just to make the movie edgier? But hey, it's Hollywood, right? That place where all the shady stuff happens.
15-year-old in a relationship with a 27-year-old.
Now, some fans think it's just art and doesn't reflect these guys' personal lives. But let's be real. Movies often mirror society, right? So maybe Spielberg and his crew were into some weird stuff that crept into their films. And if you think Spielberg's thing with young characters was just a one-off, think again. There's chatter that during Jurassic Park, he got pretty cozy with Ariana Richards. Word has it, he sent her caregiver away so they could have some alone time in her hotel room, supposedly to go over lines. Yikes. The source claims that Spielberg put her in some uncomfortable situations that really messed with her head. Apparently, Ariana's been in therapy for years and refuses to discuss the movie or give interviews. She's done with Hollywood and now focuses on painting. Maybe that's her way of coping. Now let's talk about Spielberg's friend Roman Polanski. You know what they say? Birds of a feather flock together. Polanski, like Spielberg, has a troubling history of accusations regarding inappropriate behavior towards young women.
Yeah, when he wanted to get into jacuzzi, I knew I was in trouble. Like, wait, this is not what he's supposed to be doing.
On March 10, 1977, Polanski was arrested in Los Angeles on multiple charges involving 13-year-old Samantha Geimer. The charges were serious: unlawful intercourse with a minor, drugging, sodomy, and providing a controlled substance to a minor. He initially pleaded not guilty, but later accepted a plea deal. But here's where it gets wild. After undergoing a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation and being placed on probation, Polanski fled the country. He left the U.S. for England and then France just hours before his scheduled sentencing. He's been living in France ever since, avoiding countries where he might face extradition. According to Geimer's testimony, Polanski had asked her mother if he could photograph her for French Vogue. During the second photo shoot at Jack Nicholson's house, things took a dark turn. Geimer said, "We did photos with me drinking champagne. Toward the end, it got a little scary, and I realized he had other intentions." Geimer testified that Polanski provided champagne and part of a quaalude, and despite her protests, he sexually assaulted her. It's a horrifying story, and it gets even worse when you hear how some people tried to excuse Polanski's behavior.
It's the moment. Then I realized something was wrong. I was frightened. I didn't know what to do, and I just knew then. It was like, oh, this guy, like, he wants to get his hands on me. Oh my God, what am I gonna do?
The probation report submitted to the court actually excused his behavior due to his creative genius and being an immigrant from a land with different morals. Can you believe it? They even placed some of the blame on the victim and her mother. It's absolutely disgusting. Even after all this, Polanski was initially only ordered to report to prison for a 90-day psychiatric evaluation, but he was allowed to postpone it to finish a film in Europe. While he was there, he was spotted at Oktoberfest surrounded by young girls. It's like he wasn't taking the charges seriously at all.
Roman Polanski got caught and he fled the country to avoid persecution. That's what happened. And he's been a fugitive ever since.
Now let's circle back to Spielberg. Many fans aren't really shocked by the later accusations against him, especially given his association with Polanski and that controversial pre-production meeting for Indiana Jones. It's not too far-fetched to connect those dots, considering how movies often mirror real life and directors sometimes project their own fantasies onto their work. Stories like Thandai Newton's, where she opened up about being objectified on a casting couch, only reinforce this perception of Hollywood's dark side.
I found when I was a 16-year-old, fresh from boarding school, going out into, on the casting couch, I was definitely objectified to an extreme.
Thandai disclosed that she was manipulated when she was young and new to the industry. She said, "I was 16 and a virgin. I'd been psychologically groomed over weeks. I didn't fight him off. I was almost paralyzed with fear. It was sexual abuse." In another incident during an audition, she was asked to sit in an uncomfortable way. She said, "He asked me to sit with my legs apart. The camera was positioned where it could see up my skirt." Years later, she found out that the director had been secretly recording these audition tapes and showing them to others in his home. It's absolutely horrifying. Thandai has been an outspoken advocate for shedding light on these issues in the entertainment industry. She said, "It's not about the person that's been abused. It's not just their role to say enough. It's about the people around. How much are the people that witness? How much are they perpetrators of the crime?" Now, it's important to clarify that while Spielberg wasn't directly accused of mistreating Ariana Richards, actor Crispin Glover did make allegations against him. In 2003, Glover's book and film, What Is It?, included claims suggesting Spielberg's interest in depicting young boys in compromising situations might reflect personal inclinations. Fans have speculated about directors projecting their fantasies in disguised ways through their movies. For example, some point to a scene in a 1985 film where a boy is reattaching the broken pecker of a statue with an expression that has suggestive undertones. Many questioned why, of all places, it was the pecker of the statue that got broken and why children would be subjected to these kinds of depictions.
There's protections for animals, in filming. I think there need to be protections legally put in place to protect people when they're filming, human beings.
It's important to remember that it often takes a long time for victims to gather the courage to speak out against such acts. By the time they do, the perpetrators may be older and less powerful, having already caused significant harm. This is why figures like Ariana Grande and Jennifer Lawrence advocate for immediate steps to protect people working in Hollywood. Lawrence argues that if we can create safe environments for animals during filming, we should prioritize doing the same for humans in such potentially toxic environments. She believes it's crucial to prevent these cases from happening in the first place, rather than waiting and hoping they don't occur again in the future. It's unfortunately common for victims to already feel burdened by guilt, and public stigmatization only makes it worse. This tends to happen more when the perpetrator is wealthy or a prominent public figure. Sometimes perpetrators manipulate the narrative to portray victims as criminals seeking financial gain, which further skews public perception. Sadly, the public often believes these narratives and may rally to the defense of the accused, dismissing or discrediting the victim's account. One person wrote, "Cappy was the first person to put his life on the line and tell the world about Steven Spielberg being a predator pedophile." Another added, "The repeatedly attacked and criticized Mel Gibson is known to have been warning young actors of the Hollywood problem since the mid-1880s. However, it's important to note that Spielberg hasn't been sued yet for his alleged crimes. People in Hollywood whisper about it behind closed doors, but no one's had the guts to take him to court. He's on Epstein's list, and with what's out there, it feels like someone's bound to step up soon. So, what do you think, besties? Is this the beginning of the end for Steven Spielberg's Hollywood reign? Or is this all just a bunch of wild rumors and speculation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next serving of piping hot Hollywood tea. Until next time, this is Hot Gossip, signing off. Stay fabulous, stay curious, and remember, in the world of Hollywood scandals, the truth is often stranger than fiction. Bye!